I'm back here again. And I have to be careful with how high I move my arms. A few minutes ago, I had a video taken down because I mistakenly moved my arms and I didn't notice something. And immediately, YouTube's automated system, it's a good thing they do that. Because my first thought was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Um, so I also think I made a mistake by appealing it when I should have just edited it. But we'll see. So it doesn't matter. I took the training. I understand better. And that was a complete accident. So here we go with the video that I was trying to make before. Um, I wanted to talk about a few things. Changes I've made in my apartment since discovering what I believe to be an area that's creating a space for mold to grow. I actually don't really have that much mold in my apartment. Um, it's just a little bit by where the really bad structural area is. And the reason being is, see, this video is different than the last one. They'll always be different because they're live, they're not scripted. Um, the reason being is because I spent a good portion of the day listening to how Japanese people clean. I'm half Japanese. And the videos that I watched today, it's information that I didn't know per se, but generationally, if you believe that you have the same like knowledge as your ancestors, that's the reason why I'm able to escape mold. Japanese people are very clean. So when you do things like take your shoes off at the door, that prevents you from tracking all the shit from the hallway outside, wherever everybody else walk, people's piss and poop and shit. Like, I live in Hollywood. If you live in Hollywood and you're watching this, you should take your shoes off at your door. And if you don't, you probably have all kinds of shit in there, unless you are like one of those freaky cleaners that mops your floor every day. And if you do that, you might have a mold problem because your floor is going to always be wet. So, um, I have a wood floor that's very old. This is an 80-year-old building. One of the only ways, I had a manual from the original owner of the building that tells you what things you can use to clean the floor, because he was very particular about it. So Pine Sol was one of the few things. No harsh chemical cleaners. And I don't. Because of that, because of the care that this man wanted to take of the building that he owned, I am now on my second steam cleaning unit. The first one, I may have run non-distilled water through it, and I know better. Or something happened. Maybe somebody, when they were entering my apartment, somebody borrowed it and used the wrong kind of water. But I know steam cleaners, clothes steam cleaners, house steam cleaners, regardless, they all require distilled water. I am able to make distilled water, so that's not an issue for me. I use distilled water steam to clean bacteria and messes that are hard to clean. So, another reason I use steam is because I cannot saturate the floor. So what I do with the steam, the heat goes through the different layers and it gets through anything. There's no bugs in here. Like, if there's bacteria, it gets killed. So anyway, speaking of steam, I'm in the process of doing like a decontamination just to be on the safe side. And this is actually before I even complete the washing of my walls. I won't say that I do it every day, every month or whatever, but I definitely make an effort to do it once or twice a year, where top to bottom, corner to corner. So this year they made me do it, not made me, like, I don't think it's make, I welcome an all unit inspection because I think all units should be inspected. So anytime we have an all unit inspection is usually around the time when I will clean from corner to corner everything. The reason I have everything on casters is so that I can move a whole cabinet without having to take the stuff off of it and clean my floor. So what has to happen when you're cleaning, clean the walls, clean the dust, all that shit's gonna fall onto all of your belongings in the floor. And then you go through and clean all your belongings off because all that shit's gonna fall to the floor. And then you go through and clean the floor. And then you go through, you have to do it like 2 or 3 times to make sure shit really gets clean. So I enjoy having clean things. So right after, like, this happened, 4th of July weekend, I spent the weekend doing the deep clean. And that, what is it? That was right before our all unit inspection and the mold inspection that we have, where they just checked humidity. There was no air test that was done. There was no tape sample. There was no swab sample taken. They did a simple test of humidity. During that inspection, I had mentioned, this is not the first time either. The last time the plumber came and the time before that, when they had the installation team come and try to mess around with my water heater, right? So they were inspecting my bathroom, and I said, is that okay? Like, is there something wrong? Does that need to get fixed? And the guy took a piece of pipe or a hammer or something and kind of like tapped on it. He said, nope, it's good. It was concerning to me enough to ask him if it should be fixed. I don't know what the installation team is, where they came from, who they are, but they weren't regular plumbers. And this was the beginning of when I started to think they're trying to put roaches in my apartment. So I don't know if something happened during the time when they were trying to do the install of the water heater. But immediately after, so they disconnected my water heater, but they didn't remove it. And then before they removed it, they said, oh, the new one's not going to fit. It's a special kind of drain pan and whatever, like, it would leave standing water. I don't know, the line below, it only goes to like oh, that's what it was. They said that the exit line goes to an underground space, but I don't know what that space is. So they just changed their mind about installing it. But they spent like about an hour or more in here just fucking around with shit. And after that installation team left, and I have videos of this, I went to go wash my hands in the kitchen, and my kitchen sink was broken. So what that did was, a week later, not a week, not even a week, I think within a couple days, they sent someone out to fix the broken sink. And when they had the broken sink fixed, and this is factual, so I can say this. So when they had the broken sink fixed, after they tried to install the mouth-fitting tankless water heater, I had a camera that was set up where the plumber was working, right? So I went and I checked the work after he was finished, and I found a screw that was put in to hold the weight in place so that it would limit the amount of length I could pull out the faucet. And I believe if I were to like tug on it, that would force the screw to puncture the water line, and that would create a leak under my sink, which would then cause roaches to come. But immediately after he left, before I even used the sink, I checked it, I pulled the screw out, and I said, oh, wow, wowee, wallow we were. So when I did eventually start seeing cockroaches in my unit, I thought back to these events, and it made me believe that that's what the intention was. Whose intention? I don't know. You would have to ask whoever it is that ordered that tankless water heater. Because since they couldn't create the issue with the tankless water heater, they tried to do it with my kitchen sink. They tried to just anywhere that there's a water connection in my apartment, it appears that they've been trying to create issues. So now here we are where I'm starting to notice mold on the walls, but it's only because since they couldn't create the water issues from inside of my apartment, because I checked the plumbing, right? I have knowledge of that shit. When I say they, I have to say that with a grain of salt. A situation occurred in which water from above poured into my bathroom. Uh, so every month, it's like every month, every other month, it's been some kind of major issue that they're trying to force, um, some kind of problem that would force me to move out. Because this whole time, what I have been claiming is it started back when one day when I was driving home from work and I heard a neighbor say, "We're trying to hack $1 million." The fact that I could hear this neighbor who worked at Intelligentsia on Sunset Boulevard talk about hacking $1 million, it let me know that there's a conspiracy that involves trying to force me to move out of my apartment. Um, I have had what I will call dreams about what exactly is going on, and I'll call them like premonitions, I'll say. So, in one of my premonitions, a different neighbor, the same neighbor that sat surveillance style while I was at the Verizon store, was talking to another neighbor about selling my information online. And in my premonition, I begged. I said, "Why would you do that? Like, please just remove that." Something like that. This was like years ago now. So going through all of this, finding out all of that, realizing it wasn't a premonition, it's maybe likely to be true. Anyways, supposedly somebody is set to get some kind of reward or prize if they're able to force me to leave my unit. So when I start talking about, and I do believe I'm slightly overreacting, but not really because of all my premonitions, and the fact that I am Japanese, and when I notice something that will cause problems, I fix it. But it's my ancestors who are running the show. Because I've never had experiences like this. I grew up in a clean house. My mom is full Japanese, and one of the things that was constantly an issue was the amount of cleaning that we had to do as kids, right? Like, you're a kid, you just want to fucking relax. But we definitely knew how to clean, because if it wasn't up to her standards, we'd have to keep cleaning. So that included things like, I remember we used to take turns washing the dishes, or both of it, like two out of the three kids would be standing at the sink washing and drying dishes. And when I was listening, they were on, not watching, I still got all my work done. As I was listening to these videos about how Japanese people clean, there are certain things that I realized my ancestors have ingrained in me that I didn't even know. Like, I don't know how much common knowledge it is not to line your furniture up, pushed up all the way against the wall. Um, I just, in my own mind, in my own experience, I started looking, when I heard that, I started looking around my apartment like, I don't think there's really a single thing in my apartment that I have pushed all the way up against the wall. So the entire perimeter, all of the walls in my apartment, for the most part, have an inch, between an inch, 2 inches to 5 inches of space between the item that's directly in front of it. So that helps with my airflow. Whatchamacallit? I have a dehumidifier that I set to 35%. When the dehumidifier, it's in the center, almost the center of my apartment. The dehumidifier, what it does is it ensures that my apartment never reaches a level that's moist enough to grow mold. So even if mold spores enter my apartment, it just results in extra dust because they don't ever get the chance to grow. They barely get fed. As soon as humidity is over, and that's how mold grows. It grows very rapidly as soon as humidity rises over 50%. And that's something I've known forever. Like, pink is mildew. Mildew is easy to remove. Black is mold. I do not ever let my bathroom get black. I hit the mold. That's why I have a steamer. We hit the mold up and remove it before it turns black. Mildew, right? So we clean up mildew. We don't have mold. One of the reasons why my bathroom hasn't been consumed by mold is because I steamed it after the last time they flooded it. I steamed every part that I thought water touched. Uh, so in my bathroom, there is quite a bit of dust, but that's the closest place to where the dehumidifier is. So none of the mold is attaching or adhering. Or if it is, it's not black mold. It's like white mold. I can't see it really. So dehumidifier is always running. What else? UV lights. I recently got UV lights because of the fear that the smell of the building is giving to me. When I walk out of the building and walk in the building, there's an extra piece of carpet that has been added to the base of the stairs, like the first 5 steps. And this extra piece of carpet with the unnecessary steam cleaning, well, I won't say unnecessary. If all of these tenants' units are filled with mold and they are walking through the hallways, steam cleaning is necessary, but also necessary would be opening the doors and windows of the building in order to properly dry it. If you don't properly dry it, within 3 hours, that shit's gonna turn into mold. So when you walk out, for example, when I walk out the front door and I step across that stinky carpet, I know I'm picking up mold spores on my shoes. And then when I come home, it's the same thing. I have a little shopping cart. I should actually clean those wheels every day when I get home. Maybe just leave them. I can't though, because you can't leave stuff in the hallway. So that's something I think I should do is put the wheels in a bag. When I get home, just remove the wheels and put them in a bag with some silica or something so that the mold spores that are on the wheels don't start growing. And then I have shoes that I used vinegar to clean around, and I think that these are some of the shoes that I wore most recently. I think that there is mold growth on the bottom of them because I put them back in a closed box, and humidity has been going up and down and up and down and up and down. So what else did I learn? Diatomaceous earth is very helpful. I not only with pests, similar to borax, diatomaceous earth. That's another thing that I just recently got in order to maintain the humidity levels in my bathroom and keep standing water from being in there. So I have a diatomaceous earth bath mat that's coming, the stone one, and I will also be using that to replace the bamboo cutting board that I used to dry my dishes on, so that all moisture gets evaporated immediately instead of standing there and making stuff moldy. I wonder how that's going to work because diatomaceous earth is porous, but supposedly it's not going to grow mold. Like the exact reason that it is the way it is because it dries quickly. I got a shoe rack because I removed a handful, 10, maybe 10 shoe boxes that I used to have by my door because that's where I would put my shoes, because I don't wear them in my house. I put my shoes back in their boxes. And I think that it goes twofold. The boxes can very quickly become infected with mold. Let's say that the stuff on the bottom of my shoes is a black mold, and then I put them in a cardboard box. That mold will spread throughout every single cardboard box, and the contents of all those boxes will then become covered in mold. So if that's the case, I caught it in time. So today I removed all the cardboard boxes. I still have a few more I think I have to take out of my closet. My closet's another area I need to go into. I think I'm going to get rid of a large amount of clothing because if I haven't worn it in a year, there's no reason to, especially if it's not the right size. So, okay, so let's talk about some other things. Um, One of the reasons why some of my cleaning is delayed is because for maybe 6 years, I've been dealing with people who are trying to change my cognitive responses and my pattern recognition. So much so that it has taken all of my bandwidth in order to try to figure out what's real, right? All the gaslighting, all of the fake acquaintances, all of the people that I identify through micro expressions as people who are confidential informants, people who are trying to get close to me so that they can get information in order to convict me of a crime that I didn't commit. Or they're trying to see if I'm a criminal, which I'm not, which is the reason why I don't want to talk to them. Like, you're not going to get anything from me, and you come across as very sleazy and slimeball. So if you keep trying to test to see if like we could be friends or we can have a conversation, no, you bother me a whole lot. Your presence around me is very bothersome. If you see me covering my face, it's because I know that you're a confidential informant. So there's that. So any amount of time that I would have spent organizing my life, working on making more money, cleaning, those things are not done because I have to make videos like this so that I can go back to them and realize what it is that they're doing to me. So many things. My gosh. Supposedly, this is 20 years in the making, an organized crime that plans to use me like depreciating machinery and then dispose of me. So after 20 years, like, if you are really one of my majors, not my major, was it a major? It's a minor, whatever, I don't know. I went to school, but I wasn't able to complete it because of shit like this happening. And I don't blame any particular person. The reason that I don't ever get to finish things is because I have to save myself. So if I were to focus on completing one thing, I would miss something. And right now, I believe I've caught these people every step of the way before something majorly bad has happened to me. So like, for example, a whole entire apartment getting overtaken by black mold. It happens in hours. It happens within hours. If, like, let's say that my dehumidifier were to go out, I have to replace that immediately. Especially during a heat wave. So anybody in this building that has to walk through our hallways that does not have a dehumidifier or an air conditioner with dehumidifying abilities, guaranteed has black mold growing in their apartment. Guaranteed. And the reason I say that is because we have to walk across a little spore-filled mat every day that we get home. If you use the back door, I don't know if it's as bad. Maybe that's the door that they use, like when they want to go out and not track. But it's in the hallway. I have pictures. Maybe that's what I'll use as my thumbnail. It's like a narrow path in the hallway of the most treaded carpet, and it didn't used to look like that. The first on-site manager that I experienced when I first moved in, he always used a broom. So he would use a broom to clean up large debris, and maybe once a week, once every other week, he would vacuum the entire building. He never used a steam cleaner. He didn't have to. There was no complaints of mold. Everybody paid full rent. Building was clean. New management company took over, and my apartment, at least, I don't know if this is the case for every single other apartment, but my apartment has had nonstop water issues since the new management company took over. If I were to go back into my apartment portal and look at how many claims of water damage I've had to submit for them to do nothing, right? For me to get, they wanted this. They wanted to create this situation. Um, and I think that they're upset right now because my dehumidifier prevents what they wanted to happen from happening. My knowledge of STEM, that's the funny thing too. Mold has roots. My knowledge of STEM is what is saving me from being the scumbag, dirty scoundrel that the narrative that they're trying to portray of me. It may have ruined some of my stuff, but I have way more stuff than I need, so it's helpful. It's actually helpful. So then that makes me go think back to community psychology, aka mind path health. If this is some psychopath's way of forcing me to show my ability to clean, like, this is the stupidest thing you could have ever done. Wow, I must be so important. Somebody must covet me so much that they chose to use a community to change me. I'm not a hoarder. I am enjoying my childhood life that I didn't get to enjoy as a kid without people making me emotional. I'm realizing that growing up, one of the reasons I have problems with relationships and emotion control is because anytime I wanted something, I was made out to be the problem and forced to become emotional about it. And it was a cycle. It's been a cycle ever since I was a little kid. And what that has done, it made me not ask for help. I don't need help because I know how to do it myself, and I don't have to complain about people gaslighting me, doing it wrong, causing things to take more time than necessary. That's why I'm able to sit in this apartment without even thinking about looking for a new one, because I am able to serve myself. Not even a thought has crossed to look for a new apartment. Not at all. Before I look for a new apartment, I'll look for another dehumidifier. I'll look for an air conditioner. That's a lot cheaper than moving. The cost of moving is around $3,000. Since I quit smoking weed, I can afford now to spend about $200 a month on improving my apartment. Thanks, guys. So whatever cognitive training, cognitive forceful actions you guys are trying to do, I don't know if it's going to work the way you want it to, because I'm not the person that you think I am. The more pressure you put on me, the more my ancestors take over. So for me, right now, this situation, the videos that I listened to today, Japanese people, and I wish that we as Americans, because I am American, I was born in America, African American, I wish that we as Americans, instead of being so greedy and money hungry, because it's double-sided, people think that money solves problems. You can solve major problems with very little money. Like my cat litter situation. I will change everybody's life right now, and all these corporations are gonna fucking hate me. And I'm gonna keep doing it the more you keep fucking with me. Every single cat litter has some kind of con, right? The silica is a cancer causing. There's a Prop 65 or whatever listed on the one that I use, but every single one, I don't know if there's many that don't. I think the cornstarch ones may not, but those ones are really expensive. So even normal ass, regular ass, basic ass cat litter is expensive, and it's a pain in the ass. I found a solution. Maybe they don't want everyone to know about it. Maybe we don't know all the side effects yet, but it's $7 a month for my cat. I change the litter box twice a week, and my cat manages it. pretty much on her own. When she takes a fresh shit, if it really bothers me, I'll remove it. So within 3 days, it's 3 shits, you know? I bet a lot more people out there have regular litter that has way more shit than that in it. And then because of the consistency of normal litter, I also want to bet that those people are not frequently washing out the actual litter box, which is filled with bacteria. So you guys have E. coli in your house. I don't know if cat's poop makes you get E. coli, but there's something bad about a cat using. That's the reason your cat would piss on your walls and shit. So I try my best. My mom is better than me. She's full Japanese. So I believe she washes her, like fully washes out all her litter boxes because she has 2 cats. So she has at least 3 litter boxes. I believe that she fully washes out all her litter boxes once a week, maybe once every other week. When she might even do it after every time she changes the liner. She changes her liner every day. I do not. I change my liner every 3 days. I can't afford it. But within 3 days, if my cat has told me, that's how smart my cat is. That's how smart that's how good my communication with animals is. My cat is able to tell me when she wants me to clean it. So there is, and I'll tell you how she does it. I have I use a certain type of litter, and in the pan, I use it's like a potty pad so that it collects all the shit. So that when I go to clean out the litter box, I just shake it, take the potty pad up, and I throw it away. And then if I don't see any like poopy stains or anything, and there's nothing stuck on the pan, I'll just refill it with the fresh litter, right? And then eventually my cat, the last time she went and sat on the stack of her pissy pads. That was her way of telling me she wants me to clean out her litter box. It was within the 3 days. If I went to the 4th day, she might have been pissed off. But within 3 days, my cat will tell me, hey, you've been sleeping on this shit. You gotta clean this. So, and because she told me to clean it, that prompted me to do a wash. I'll wash. I can't say I do it even every month. I did it maybe, the last time I did it was maybe 2 months ago. And I probably could do it more often, but it doesn't even smell because we don't use shitty litter. It's cheap, but it's not shitty. Use your brain. If you enjoy paying these corporations for their fancy marketing, you can do that. Do you know that they have a whole entire department of marketing that makes money that they have to pay? So that's why it costs twice as much as it really should, 3 times as much as it really should. So that's the cat litter. She also tells me when she's hungry. She'll go in her crate and she'll sit right in front of her bowl and just wait. Like, bitch, put the food in the bowl. Okay. So my cat understands ADHD and autism because she is able to take care of herself in the event that I'm not able to notice it. Another thing that she's done recently, and I think it has something to do with the air quality, maybe in my apartment, possibly in the building, but she has, and it also may have something to do with the heat, but there is a certain corner that's behind a curtain, right? So this one curtain I have, I only open it a certain amount because I have prying neighbors. So there's one side that doesn't ever get open, and I believe that side has the least amount of dust because the curtain's blocking it. I don't open that window, and she has a house that covers up the spot that she lays at. So I think that corner happens to be the cleanest corner in my apartment. Maybe it's the coolest. I don't know about that. It might be because it's near a window, but I also think that near a window may be warmer. I'm not too sure, but I noticed during this last week, since the start of the heat wave, she has changed from her normal position in her hammock. Her hammock, I actually have to inspect to see if that has any signs of mold on it. And if it does, I'm just going to make her a new one. and probably out of like polyester or nylon, so it airs out easy. Um, I'm gonna check her hammock. She stopped sleeping. She slept in it today, not too long ago, when I had the door open and I had her in her crate. Um, so I think maybe it has something to do with the air quality. I opened up the door and she was like, I could sleep here now. So maybe she's telling me that there is an existing mold problem and I personally am not being affected by it. If I can't see it, I don't know what it is, there's nothing for me to do. All that I can do is dust. I can see dust. I can physically see dust and I can remove the dust. So that is the reason I ordered the things that I did, is to help gain control over the dust in my apartment. So I will be getting rid of like makeshift closet bars and using a heavy duty rolling rack. Oh, another thing I wanted to say, because I had a video that got taken down and I think I had mentioned it. I'm not sure if those marks on my floor are actually mold or not. It's possible that it could just be places in which the polyurethane needs to be replaced. But there are certain areas where there's rotting wood, which is what leads me to think that it's mold. So I'm still 50-50 on that. And because it's not taken to the walls yet, I feel comfortable just like living my life as I've been living for the last 11 years. With the exception of the UV light, which I started to use the UV light and vinegar, because they said vinegar will penetrate and kill roots of mold, and the UV light kills surface mold. So should mold have started growing on the dust, it's surface dust, like for example, like my Legos, ABS plastic is slightly porous, but not as porous as uh, like furniture fabrics and stuff. So if I can wipe the dust off of it, that removes the mold as well. And then I can shock the the um, the environment with the alkaline layer. Um, so that's like what I'm going through. If I see any place that looks dirty, I'm cleaning it with vinegar. First, I spray it to make sure I'm not disturbing a bunch of spores and sending millions of spores into the air. Spray it, let it sit, lightly scrub, and then I'm going to come back in and hit it with the steam cleaner. And then after I do steam cleaning, we're going to do another UV. So it's just a process that I have to get into a cleaning cycle. I have everything that I need to keep black mold off of my apartment. The most concerning thing is the amount of personal belongings that I have. So that's all I'll be doing, at least every day. 5 things a day, if not more, have to come out of my apartment until I get the county to come here and do the inspection. The other option is Drake can put a notice on my door and tell me they're going to remedy it, but they already tried sending an email saying that they don't want any part of it. So I am set on waiting out the next 30 days in this heat wave, and that's all I can do. If their objective was to make it so that I don't pay my next month's rent, I will tell you again, I have no choice. What are my options? I don't have $3,000 to move my shit. So that's not gonna happen. And it's not even it's more than $3,000. I don't know in here what is infected. I have to separate infected items from everything. I have to just assume is infected, and I have to separate porous items from non-porous items and clean that way. So first we will be separating the items, with porous items being the most important. So that's things like paperwork, anything in boxes, anything that has the ability to absorb moisture. That's my first course of action, is to remove those items. My second course of action is to clean off non-porous surfaces. Actually, I have to clean the walls down first, and then clean off non-porous items, because I want to clean the walls first so that by the time that I get to the floor, I don't have to worry about cleaning the floor again. But apparently, cleaning the floor every day now is a thing because I do know what I'm up against. I believe that there are so many mold spores in here. On any day when the humidity rises over 50%, I will see more new spots on the walls. I will begin marking them with pieces of tape as I see them, because that is the only way you can visually tell uh, when something started. So, as of right now, everything that I see on my wall is removable. There's like spider cobwebby things that I have to get to, and that's it. Spider cobwebby things and this new black dot that appeared on my bookshelf, which is the first abnormal black thing that I'm seeing. Well, not first. Um, it. I just know I'm pretty sure that it wasn't there before, and it's possible it developed today. I may have a video that I can go back and look at to see if it was there, uh, but I think it may have developed today, during the time that I had my door open, because humidity did get as high as 54%. As soon as I noticed it was at 54%, I closed my door because I have to circulate stale air with fresh air. So I closed my door, and we're now dehumidifying and cooling whatever air we have in here. What day? I think it's Thursday. One of these days coming up is supposed to be the hottest day of this heat wave. Right now I have the weather highs and lows, humidity highs and lows tracked for the next 2 weeks so that I can know what to expect as far as the conditions inside of my apartment. I don't know how many of my neighbors are going so far as to do that, but it's very important if you suspect a mold issue. There are items like, what is it? Any area where there is stale hot air, I am using a fan to blow the air out, because stagnant air is what holds moisture and will start the mold growth on my porous items, that just everything, and that's when it will start to grow on everything. So first course of action. Oh, and let's talk more about how Japanese I am and how the Japanese people, they don't have these problems. So Japanese people sleep on mats on the floor. Their mat is on the floor and their bed is on top of it. And that particular situation, there's no circulation under the mat. If they do not clean that mat up on a daily basis, they will grow mold under their mat because of the proximity to their body. They sweat, etc. So Japanese people then put that mat out in the sun, UV light. That's the reason I got the UV light. They put the mat in the sun because I can't take all my shit outside and just hang it over the fire escape. I can't do that. But they will put their stuff out in the sun so that the sun can air it out and kill with UV ray any bacteria or mold spores. You can do this for free, right? Like, if mold has, you can't ever say that you're in a bad situation, you have no money, and you can't handle it. You get rid of everything that has mold on it, and as much of your stuff as you possibly can, take it outside and just sit outside 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, however the fuck long you need to sit outside in order to bring a safer item back into your home. If you have to keep it, take that shit outside, let it sit in the sun. That's my advice for people who have no money. Don't just sit in this situation feeling bad for yourself. This is something you, like, if you have the ability to watch me or doom scroll on social media or do nitrous oxide whippets, if you are doing any of those things and not paying attention to the cleanliness of your apartment, you need to get out of here. that's like worthless living. You not okay. Let me be nice. I don't have to say you need to get out of here. You need to realize how important your health is. I know how important my health is. Uh, when I start, that's the thing that prompted my quick attention to the mold status in my apartment. The one night when I woke up in a cold sweat for no fucking reason. I think that was the first night of the heat wave. That was the first night of the heat wave, and I wasn't running my dehumidifier. So I woke up in an environment that had filled up with mycotoxins. So it is imperative that I keep the dehumidifier under 40%, so that my entire apartment can be around 40. And the importance of the fans is to blow that hot, moist air out from between your wall and whatever item it is that's going to get covered in mold next. If you remove that air, you're not going to have mold grow on your couch. You're not going to have mold take over your storage bins because you don't have hot, stagnant air. A lot of this is common sense. A lot of these things, my apartment is already like this. The reason, right? There's people out there who so strongly believe in spending money on cleaning supplies. While I have cleaning supplies like bleach, I have tile cleaner, you don't need 10 different items to clean. You don't need Windex. You don't need all of these things. All of these companies created these specialty products to make money from people who think, or not who think, make money from people who aren't thinking or people who have too much money, right? You can buy a specialty item. Well, it may be a little bit more expensive to get a steam cleaner, but if you're going through 10 bottles of cleaner and the cleaner is $20 a bottle, within a year, you will pay off your steam cleaner, right? So that's like, in an apartment like this, that if I use one bottle a month or more, just squirt, 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 clean, 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 squirt, 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 clean, 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 until it was gone, I would spend the same amount of money as I spent on a steam cleaner. You could buy a cheaper steam cleaner that will work. I just got the biggest one that I could find that works for me. So I don't clean with chemicals because steam is more effective. Why would you want to sit there? I have a disability and I'm right-handed. And my right hand is the hand that I use to clean. Cleaning is something that exacerbates my disability. It makes it so that's probably the reason I had hand fatigue, because I have to scrub shit and then my arm's just like, I can't do this today. So when you use a steam cleaner, there's no fucking scrubbing. You just sit there with the steam until the shit falls off. That's my favorite part about it. You sit there and you blow it with 200 degree steam. Steam kills mold. Steam kills mold. You blow it with 200 degrees steam until it goes away. The only thing I can't use the steam cleaner on is the walls. So, yeah, 30 days. It's kind of crazy how long it takes, but I do believe 30 days is a good enough amount of time for a mold condition to grow enough to make a landlord have to pay you to move out. If they want to continue to deny the I don't know what's the right word, disrepair, malrepair, or whatever, of structural features, integral features, things that are very important to habitation, they could pay for me to move out. In this video, I have explained to you every reason why you cannot say the mold problem is the result of me being a messy tenant. It's not. Absolutely fucking not. The main thing I want to point out is the fact that I have just about every fucking thing on coasters. And what that does is it keeps the floor from being the heat source trap. So you cannot have a mold infestation infection spread from my bathroom across the floor and up into my belongings. It might affect the wheels, the caster wheels of whatever it is, but it's going to be a lot harder, right? Caster wheels connected to the bottom of the thing with an axle that's made of metal. So the wheels are going to deteriorate. It may get unstable, but it should be okay unless there's an extreme amount of moisture within the wood. The wood is protected. I feel okay. I will be going through and sealing off edges of unprotected wood. And then I don't know if I need to, if I need them to test the floor to see if that's mold. If it is, they have to redo the floor in here. It's the whole apartment. That's something that would force me to move out. So maybe they will get their $1 million. Whoever it is that created the ideal situation for the mold to grow. But maybe you'll get paid, but they're going to have to pay to fix all this shit. And I won't be leaving. I'll be moving back in. So I thank you for cleansing me of all my bankruptcy items. That's the first thing to go. Everything I bought on credit cards. Because I don't want to feel like a thief. So my conscience says, get rid of the stuff that you bought on credit cards, because that's the stuff that's making your life hard to deal with. So everything's come full circle, and the circle realizes that I'm very intelligent, and with enough harassment, I'll clean up my life. I'm not concerned about you guys. What's concerning is you guys choosing to live in these conditions because you think you're going to make me angry. Why would you set yourself up for something like this? I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to clean. I'm not going to get angry. I'm going to throw stuff in the trash. You guys, when I say you guys, I don't know if it's one person, 5 people, 10 people, but you guys, whoever it is that's responsible for the leaky situation in my apartment and the stinky hallways, if your intention is to make this into a trap building, I'm moving back in, and I don't do drugs. And when I smell yours, I'm going to say something about it. So, it's you or me. I think this building, should they choose to maintain it, has every ability to make them a shit ton of money. But they may be considering demolishing the building, and they're trying to force everyone to move out so that they don't have to pay for the demolition. So for informational purposes, if you are a neighbor who's watching this and doesn't know, and you're not, I'm not going to call you dumb. It's just, I'm a dummy, right? And it took all of this for me to make this shit click. So if your brain doesn't work as fast as my brain does, my brain works faster than a lot of people's brains. So if your brain doesn't work as fast as my brain does, everything that I'm describing, you need to be doing the same thing. Especially if your apartment looks worse than mine. You have 30 days. Living in a moldy apartment for 30, that's maybe the reason why you guys act crazy in the hallway. You guys have mycotoxin fucking damage. I don't need to act crazy in the hallway. I will go outside, smoke my weed, and just enjoy my life. But I don't even have to smoke weed anymore because I am enthralled and entertained by cleaning. Deep cleaning is my forte. I enjoy deep cleaning more than a normal cleaning every day. Like, deep cleaning is like, whoa, look at the difference. I love that. So, in the event that my apartment gets to a point where it requires cleaning, I thoroughly enjoy it. So if you guys are just doing all of this shit to make me have to clean, it's enjoyable for me to rearrange stuff, to purge, to find new homes for things, to rediscover some things. It is a pleasure. Some things I'm actually concerned about right now. I use Patagonia black hole bags to store my clean clothes. I need to add silica. First, I need to check on the contents to make sure they're not growing mold. And if everything is found to be clean and mold free, I'll be adding silica to the black hole bags because they're easy to clean and they ensure that my clothes don't have the mold spores that are floating around my apartment. Um, and that's one of the reasons I like them. And that's not the reason. I enjoy those bags because they are water resistant, waterproof, and that's like everything in my life. Like emergency survival, survivalist, bitch. So you're gonna have a really hard time fucking with a survivalist, I think. For those of you out here who still want to play this game with me, let's go. Let's see who can clean their apartment up the fastest. Mine's gonna take a while. I have so much stuff, but I could at the same time just get into the right frame of mind and just start throwing this shit away. Um, Already, because how many people, and maybe that's the reason why the souls disintegrate, is because you keep that shit in a box. You need to be wearing them. You need to wear them until they're done and then go get some new ones. I can't wait for my shoe rack. Right? My other option was to put all the shoes in a bucket, but then I would only wear one pair of shoes because I just wear whatever's on the top. But having a shoe rack allows you to have a selection. And then I will also be able to see if any of them start disintegrating or growing mold. And I got a covered shoe closet so that I don't have to clean mold spores off the shoes. And that's how everything's going to be covered. It's going to look like a hospital in this bitch. I may have trouble accessing everything, but everything's going to have like a little plastic baggie over it. Right? Because another thing, every time I leave my apartment, I have to run the UV in areas where I normally sit. Because what that does is, if my apartment's always less than 50% humidity, all mold spores are surface mold because they haven't rooted yet. And if I can kill them with the UV light before they root, I won't have a problem. I didn't expect to become a mold expert, but I'm starting to clock my hours. Maybe I should log my hours until I have 1,600 and I can get certified for something. But another thing, I don't know, maybe if we're getting to know me, when I was younger, I used to watch shows like HGTV for fun. So I know just from my passive attention and knowledge from watching all the shit on HGTV that I could possibly absorb, I have a good idea about how to maintain a home. Yeah. Right? And then one of the reasons I said that your body knows, if you still have enough brain cells left, your body knows how to self-medicate. And what I mean, like my body told me last time I went shopping, oh, you need to get this lemon ginger probiotic. You know what ginger does? It helps clean out toxins and stuff. Ginger, garlic, the foods I like to eat, wild caught fish. So you can fight mold from the inside also with the foods that you eat. You know how I looked it up? You just have to ask questions. And you have AI, right? These are some of the only times I've ever used AI. So I asked AI, what foods can I eat to counteract effects of mold toxins? And you know what it told me? It told me wild caught fish. Boom. What do I have in my freezer? Wild caught motherfucking fish. Fatty acids, omega fatty acids. Milk with DHA. Beets. Cruciferous vegetables. That's like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale. Um, you're going to have a hard time fucking with me. I don't know how many people you've done this to that you've done it unsuccessfully. I feel bad for anybody who's doing this shit to me. You guys are like doom scrolling, watching me live a life that you'll never be able to. Right? It's because you spend all the time watching me. Right now, I'm wasting time, but I'm not, because I'm informing people out there who have been targeted or who may be going through similar situations and they're broke and they don't know how to handle it. Shit does cost money, but you could still do everything relatively cheaply. If you have no money, the most important thing you would need is a dehumidifier. More important than anything. So if you have no money, go sell some shit. Call your buddy, call your friends, stand on the corner, do whatever you have to do until you have enough money to get a dehumidifier. And just run that shit and just start scrubbing, right? But if you are a Section 8 tenant, that's the county. They have to come and fix that shit. You just have to complain about it. Somebody today said squeaky wheel here, and that's exactly what it is. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. I'm not complaining per se. Whoever it is that's running this thing up wants me to be the squeaky wheel, and I believe that they want me to document it because there's other people out there who need help. So if you don't have the money to move and you only have access to a little bit of money at a time, go get some fucking borax right now and just go to town on your fucking apartment. Borax. Don't make it worse by going to spend $40 on a chemical cleaner that you have no idea what the chemistry is. If you don't know what it is, use the shit that the Amish people use. Use the shit that people have been using for hundreds of years. Don't go and use some tech lab, ultra researched product, because I want to tell you that a lot of these companies, their main goal is to make money. They want you to have to keep buying their product. They don't really want it to resolve your situation. When you speak to like a mold contractor and they tell you to use bleach, hang up on them. Mold does nothing. Bleach does nothing for mold. Bleach removes the color and makes you feel all right with it not being black. But every video I watch from anybody who knows anything explains the science behind it. And once the bleach is done and it breaks down, the other part of it is water. Water goes to feed the fungus and causes it to come back even more than before. So your best bet is vinegar. Your best bet is vinegar. Why would they say to wash all your porous items with vinegar? Oh my gosh, I love Mexicans so much. I didn't used to understand why people used vinegar like as a fabric softener, and then I got down to the chemistry of it and the money part of it. Fabric softener is flammable for the most part. Most of them, if not all of them, are flammable. What they also do, fabric softener, and I know this from heat pressing shirts, fabric softener also coats your clothes in a layer of chemicals that make it almost impossible. Like this shirt, I made this shirt. I'm a diamond in the rough, bitch. This heat press wouldn't stick through a hot load wash if I had washed the shirt in fabric softener, because fabric softener would have changed the composition of the material, and when I went to wash or dry this shirt, the heat press would just peel off. But because I didn't use fabric softener on the shirt before I pressed it, I'm able to wash this shirt multiple times, and the heat press is on there almost as good as if it were a screen press. So the reason you're broke is because you keep giving all these companies your money. Apple cider vinegar. Did you pay attention in science? Do you know what acid versus alkaline is? That's one of the most important things for you to know in your life. on this earth in the world is the pH fucking scale. pH, when a pH is off, like for a female vagina per se, it's going to make bacteria grow, yeast, and then it's going to make it smelly. When pH is off in your house, mold's going to grow very easily. That's why they say to use things like borax or vinegar, acidic and alkaline. That shit. Like, you have to push the levels to a point where mold cannot grow. And it's the same with rodents. That's why it's the same thing. The world, let me put my strings together. Let me put the numbers together, because I'm almost positive I could come out with like a number like 7. And that will be that is a pH. What is pH balanced? Is pH balanced 7? So if pH balance, I gotta look it up. 14's high. 14's high pH. So neutral, 0, 7. 7's in between. Not acid, not alkaline, right in between. Anyways, everything in our world operates off numbers. If you go by the numbers, you can win any time. It's not a gamble with what do you call it? You're not gambling when you have good information. It's educated guessing. You're not gambling. You're making an educated guess. And if you're educated enough, your guess might be right. That's where we're at right now. So I'm educated enough that I can correctly guess. Oh, what I do want to say is, see my eye right here? It is kind of looking pinky. And I don't know if that has anything to do, like this eye, this one right here. I don't know if that has anything to do with putting in my contacts after washing my hands with suspected poopy water, or if that has anything to do with the environment. But what I did notice on those, like the feral house child fucking abusers, every single one of them looks like they have some kind of fungal infection or internal infection, because their sinuses, everything right here is all red and irritated. And that comes from living in a disgusting, filthy house. You present symptoms based on the environment that you live in. So I don't know what makes people, it's abuse, childhood abuse. Really, childhood abuse is what, I'm sorry, I'm yelling. Childhood abuse is what makes it so that people are not able to function in the way that they need to survive. And I'm not exactly sure. I don't think I had physical abuse per se, but I can't guarantee that emotional abuse wasn't one of the things that I experienced. Mental abuse. And I can't say where it came from. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. It's just in my life, I know that I am not at the same or at expected emotional control levels as other people, because I have been gaslit my whole life, misunderstood. A lot of it comes from people misunderstanding me. So they create a special box or a place or an opinion of me, and then that's what sticks. But I would like for example, my mom doesn't believe in autism. And not that I didn't believe in autism, I didn't consider myself autistic until I turned 40, I think. Just about 2 years ago. It was always like, maybe, no, I'm too smart to be autistic. But in the last 2 years, it's been made very clear. When you look around my apartment, it's very clear I'm a special interest kid. I don't even want to talk to you. So, if you look at like my YouTube fucking viewings, it's all special interest. What do I watch? I watch shows on whatever it is that I need information on. So I will watch 3,000 shows on how to clean mold to make sure I'm getting good information. And to make sure I handle it in a way that I'm not damaging evidence for a slumlord lawsuit. And I'm not further risking my health by not paying attention to the situation. I am blessed, lucky, so lucky to be able to be where I'm at today. Given the amount of people, it's not all in my head. Mold is real. Roaches are real. Water issues are real. The frequency of these things and the timing of the month, right? Like, if they happen towards the end of the month, the more likely it is to be part of a conspiracy. Each month, if I have to come on and describe the things that the V2K is saying to me, that lends towards them trying to continue to portray a narrative, because if the V2K is not talking to me, I'm not making YouTube videos. If the V2K is not talking to me, I've got nothing to prove, nothing to discuss, and I'm working on like craft projects or cleaning, for example. But the more the V2K talks to me, the more I feel the need to document this manufactured schizophrenia. It is assisted by players who show up at precise times, whether it be 11:11 or whatever time they show up at. It is key players that put themselves in the, I don't call it the right place at the right time, because I think what you're doing, everything about it is wrong. So you put yourself in the wrong place, but at the right time. Time enough for me to think about what I want to say about the situation. So I will continue. Like, I'm looking at this thing on my face and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with mold. This is from my glasses, and I may have like picked a pimple or something right there, but this is a new growth on my skin that I'm not used to. And I actually make every effort to protect myself from UV rays. So I'm curious as to what exactly these spots on my face are. And it just so happens to be right around the eyeball that's presenting to me, at least, as irritated or inflamed. So look at my dry ass lips cracking too. I gotta put on, and that's the downside of using lip balm. Once you put it on, you got to keep putting it on. So, but it's coconut oil. It's antimicrobial. So maybe we're not going to have mold on my lips if I use that. Maybe I should put some right here. I will. So that's all I have to say today. Look at this right here. I want to show you. How do I show you? Right there. You see that little space right there? That's a space for air to pass. That is my bookshelf not being directly up against the wall. And that's just an example of things you have to do in order to keep your apartment clean. My gosh, this is hilarious. So let's see what tomorrow brings.